progress. So, but it's really good for people who have memory loss, and it works for most people. I'd say it's like about 80% successful for people who are having just a little, hazy brain. They're not remembering their husband's name or their wife's name anymore, or their children. It's kind of sad. It's that person I'm with. So you want to drink ginkgo for that. I don't mean to make light of it, but it is a really wonderful herb for memory. It's one of the very first tinctures I teach people to make in that correspondence course. So for over like 25 years, I've had thousands of people write back and tell me that it's, the levels of effectiveness. And for most people, it works really effective. It's never going to increase your brain cells, by the way, ginkgo nor gotu-kola, but what it helps you work with the brain cells you have better. So I always say it's almost like somebody who's taken a duster and swept off the cobwebs. So, and I recommend it always in cycles, do it for 4 or 5 weeks and then stop for a few weeks. Not because it's harmful or builds up, but just because everything is better in cycles. Everything's better in rotation.
So again, like my mom has mentioned, she's on medication for it. So for people who are on any type of brain medication like antidepressants, would that be contraindicated?
So ginkgo is contraindicated for people who are on blood thinning medication.
What about gotu-kola?
And gotu-kola, there's no contraindication that I've ever read about. But ginkgo, it's not recommended if somebody is on blood thinners, and it's not recommended before surgery or after surgery. If somebody has problems bleeding, like heavy bleeding, like menstrual cycles that are heavy, it's best to use smaller amounts of ginkgo. So with these warnings, that doesn't mean that happens with everybody, but it means it does happen enough that it's important to be cautious and aware of it. So I would say with that warning, I would definitely pay attention.
Rosemary, if you had to order the ginkgo, would you get the full leaf or the powder?
Well, it depends how you're going to use it.
In this tea?
In the tea, it would be better to use the whole leaf, yeah.
Okay.
Because the powder would not be good. But the powder's good in balls, and the powder is probably going to break down better than the leaf. So, anyway, look at this. This is beautiful, but it's not really good enough. So now I'm going to add a little bit of, and this is still my base. I'm adding hibiscus. Partly why I add hibiscus to almost every tea is I just love it. It's extremely high in vitamin C. It's high in pigments. It's a wonderful herb for the cardiovascular system. It's a delicious, fun herb. It's great for kids. But it just adds this beautiful color. And it's one of my favorite teas, actually. I love hibiscus. It's a little tart. Hibiscus is a malva. Belongs to the Malvaceae family. That's cool to know. I'm going to add a little more. And then I'm going to add my high notes. So all of these are just the things that help blend the flavors. I'm adding them also not just for the flavor, but because they're all purposeful. They all are serving the purpose of making a morning tea that's pleasant for me to drink, that will aid my energy, and help to clear my mind. So I think it works pretty good. I went out the other day without my list of all the things I was supposed to get, and I remembered everything on it. So that's the way that I found that the brain tonics work. Is first of all, you start remembering that you had a list. Then you remember where the list is, and then after a while, you remember what's on the list. Then I usually stop drinking it because I feel like everything's moving along. Stop for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then I start going, oh, who is that man? Oh, it's Robert. I'm only kidding, of course. So,
How many base herbs are in that?
what's that?
How many base herbs did you say?
How many? Well, as many as you want. In this one, my base herbs here were the spearmint and the
Spearmint.
and
It
the
is
nettle.
spearmint.
Yeah, spearmint and nettle. If I used peppermint, it would be much more lively. It would probably be more appealing to you because peppermint is a louder mint. But did you know that spearmint is considered to be the mother of all mints? It's the oldest mint according to the botanical studies done on it. They call spearmint the mother of all mints. Supposedly all of their mints came from the womb, from the plant of the spearmint. So then the last things we're going to add are the high notes, and those are the ones that capture you and make you go, ooh, this is really interesting. So these are, my mother sent me organic oranges from her winter home in Florida, and because they were organic oranges from my mom's backyard, I dried them all. And so I'm going to add the oranges. Orange peel is really nice to add to teas. It adds a little bit of bitterness, a little citrusy flavor, just a little bit. But too much orange peel and you steep it too long, you'll have a very bitter tea. So you have to be a little careful. It's very pretty in there too. So you might say, well, what does pretty have to do with a good tea? I think it matters that the tea looks pretty, you know? I think that's important. So just putting those little, and I'd like to add a little more, but I have to be careful because I don't want to make my tea bitter. So no more.
Rosemary's gonna ask you how you did dry those orange peels.
Let's see, how did I dry them? Yeah, so we have a wood stove going all winter. And so I put, and it vents up into the upstairs. It's down in the downstairs. It's our primary heat in the house, that big, huge wood stove. So I put my orange peels in a big paper bag and I stick them on the bed and they're dried in one day.
Wow.
But if you live in a hot area and you don't have a wood fire going, really good things for drying herbs are just, I have one, I'll show it to you, just these home dehydrators.
Yeah.
You pay them for $60 and they'll dry incredibly high quality herbs, all that a family needs really. So.
Did you worry much about taking the white peel out?
No, I love leaving the white peel.
You do?
I do, because that's all your bioflavonoids.
We have a bunch of orange trees in our backyard, and
You want that.
let too many slip out of our hands last year, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, you want the peel. The white peel is your bioflavonoids. Very important part of your vitamin C. So, and then what I did, because I think it looks pretty good, right?
Beautiful.
Do we have that hot water I wanted to use? Oh, good. So, it might be perfect now. I don't know. So this is what you always have to do, and it always takes an adjustment.
Do you think I should run it in there and just
No,
flash it
no, I
again?
think it's okay. It's all right. So what you do is you do a little flavor test, and it's very rare that you don't have to adjust your flavors. But you never call it finished until you put a little bit in, a little bit, and you pour boiling water over it. And you take a quick, and I always, for this testing, I always use a wide mouth cup, so that way it cools down a little quick. So we're going to do this. Hopefully it turns beautiful, looks great in there. Looks really nice. We're going to check that color. Oh, it's going to get pink and pretty. And then we'll do a little taste, and then I'll figure out what I need to add. What I did do, because I kind of knew this would be not exciting, I know it's going to taste okay, but I took cardamom, fresh cardamom pods, and vanilla pods, and I ground them up in my blender, in the little coffee grinder, and I'm going to add a little bit to this. It may make it better or worse, I'm not sure. I should be patient and test it, but I have a feeling it's going to be just perfect. So, and I'll pass this around. You can't add too much cardamom. Cardamom is gorgeous, but it really makes things taste sick. I know that if you add too much, but smell that. That's like perfume if you rub it on you. Oh yeah. Isn't that nice?
Beautiful.
So I should let it steep a little longer. Ooh, isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
But it needs a little more. I like it to be a brighter color. So let's see. Not quite long enough steeping. But it's very pretty in my cup. I would be happy drinking that, but I'm going to make it redder. It smells pretty good. I didn't add the cardamom to this batch. It's almost perfect. This little cup has a little flower blossom on the bottom of it, so when I drink it, I see a little flower blossom. Okay, now I'm going to add, so I think what it was missing was that cardamom. We're going to try a little more. I'm going to add a little more of the hibiscus. Just a little. I like hibiscus a lot. I want my tea to be bright red when I drink it. Now it looks better to me. Doesn't that look better
Beautiful.
to you? Yeah, so let's add a little bit more.
Have you published this formula?
It's the first time I made it. I told you this. You know, you should never, if you're ever teaching herbs, you never want to do this, what I'm just doing now. So normally, there's a formula I bring out. It's a nerving formula. It's spearmint and lemon balm and chamomile. It has, oh, it's just stunning. And it's beautiful, and it has lots of roses in it, and everybody's impressed. But I was out of this tea, and I wanted to make it. So, I wanted to make a blend like that. Oh, I know what I'm doing.
This is classic Rosemary. She's just a master at formulating, and it's very healthy. You know, it is really a medicinal Not as well.
It's
But also, I've seen her just take a sick kid, into the apothecary for a few minutes and give them a remedy, a throat ball remedy or something that they're gonna just take to and
Oh my
use.
God. Look at this. Now, isn't that getting beautiful?
Yes.
I'm milking my tea. I made it about magic. Okay. And then the other thing I forgot to add that I wanted to add was just a pinch of stevia. I like to add, so stevia, do you know stevia? It's become madly popular now. Do you know it was illegal in the United States? The United States made it illegal because, see, this is totally the reason why. C&S Sugar did not want it to come into this country. So you could buy it, but you had to buy it from all the big companies. They sold it as Steve's herb. That's how you could buy it for about 10 years. Frontier, if you look back in the old Frontier catalog, Steve's herbs. Now C&S has an interest and they're growing it and selling it, so now you find it in all the supermarkets. That's okay, because stevia is actually a fabulous plant. Anybody can grow it. It grows really easily. Usually I have a pot and I grow enough, one pot, and then I harvest it and I have enough for a whole year. But I didn't grow it this year. I'm just going to add like this much to the whole blend, maybe just a little bit more. There, that's it. You can't add more than 2% to a blend. 2% to a whole blend is about all. Otherwise it tastes disgustingly sweet, and we don't want it to taste that way. All we want it to do is just capture. And so stevia is a really remarkable herb. It's very, very sweet. It's 50 times sweeter than sugar, but it's not a sugar. It's actually a remedy that's used for pancreatic imbalance. When people have sugar imbalance, you can take stevia, and you can recommend stevia to them because it's helpful to the pancreas. It has no calories in it, 0, and it's not bad for your teeth at all. So it's a fine. Have you all eaten it? This gallon jug goes pretty fast. When my grandson comes, he just sits here and eats this out of that bowl. Honey, I'm going to add just a little bit to this blend before it goes around, and then I think we're going to have the perfect tea. Got a little bit too much, but that's okay. It can make your tea taste really yucky if you add even a pinch too much. So I'm not just gonna add it. Let's just try this. So this looks like more like what I like to drink in the morning.
Yeah,
And it looks really nice. So now I think I'm gonna have a good tea. Is it a 1 cup, 2 cup, or 3 cup? I think that's really lovely. So yeah, I think that works. So we just need to let it steep a little longer so it gets a little stronger. But we have a nice, tart, brain-stimulating, wake up, beautiful bright red with a cup with a flower in the bottom. And brain ready to start the day.